Hello everyone, welcome back to Melanie's Journals. Today, as you can see, we have a little bit of a different setup, a different location, because I want to actually give you a flip through of my journals from last year, so 2021. And this was the first year I started to bullet journal, and I chose Japan as my theme. I lived in Japan for several years, and this was really a love letter to the country, and I hope since the pandemic is over to return and visit some of my favorite places. But you know, during the COVID pandemic, we couldn't actually travel, and so I decided to travel through my journal and focus on areas that I visited in Japan, so I could remember them. And also brought a lot of good memories back from friends and family that visited us at the time, who also recognized these places. So I have a few of my Japanese memorabilia around me, just to accompany the scene. But I'm going to start with my first journal, which is the blue one. Both these journals are from Notebook Therapy. I really love using their brand. I love their designs. Actually, this red journal right here was the one I saw first. Unfortunately, the beautiful design has kind of faded, but that was really what got me into the bullet journal community, and also what inspired me to do one about Japan. So I'm going to start with the blue journal and show you everything I've done. Okay, so just to start off, this is the first journal. This one's called the Great Friendly Giant, I believe, or the Gentle Giant. It's a beautiful blue journal. It has a velvet lining, which is faded a bit, as you can see, but it's still very, very soft. Okay, so this was the first page. My name, I have a lovely Japan stamp with my name on it. And this is also the first washi tape set that I bought. Grid page, first cover page. I have to say the first few pages aren't as fully detailed as I do them now, but I think it was a great learning curve just to see, you know, what I like doing. So the calendar page. Creativity and crochet goals tracker. I was really into crochet at that point. Story ideas, some wish lists. A gardening tracker when I got into gardening. Now I don't actually use this anymore, but at that time it was a good thing to have. Finance and savings tracker. My period and Instagram growth tracker. And then here we have the first month of January. And this is all based on New Year's celebrations and New Year's decorations. Quote page. And then the first goals pages. These dolls is what you fill in. So you fill in one eye before you make a wish. The Daruma dolls they're called. And then at the end of the year, if you've completed that goal, you fill in the other eye. So I thought that was very fitting for the goals page. A habit tracker and a mood tracker. As you can see, the setup hasn't really changed. And then we go on to the first weekly. And that was the year of the ox, so that's why I painted the ox there. Some fireworks. Other little symbols that you can find for decorating once it's the new year. These bells are, you'll see them everywhere at the temple. You can also pull them for gifts. And these little pouches are certain wishes or good luck charms that you can also buy at the temple. And they range from, you know, good luck with a marriage or with your exams. It can really be anything. some lanterns. And here we have the February page, and this is really when I started, well, I wanted to be a bit more artistic. And so it really started out with this cover page. The monthly goals and Instagram page. Mood tracker. And I think in February it was also the National Foundation Day, so I also use this type of holidays throughout the bullet journal to really, bring everything home. And every month has a certain flower that I associate with. So January were like the plum blossoms, and these are the magnolia blossoms. Stick it together. There we go. And this is the first time I set it up like this, so I could really use the space. And yeah, it hasn't changed. This is the Hakone Shrine, where we lived relatively close by to Mount Fuji, so I went there quite a few times, and yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. This is the Miyajima in Hiroshima. It's a beautiful, beautiful place as well, beautiful temple, and I think it's one of the most photographed tories ever. These are the torii-gates in Kyoto, and there's the name on top. Another shrine. I was really happy how this one turned out, especially the water. And there we go. Yes, and the mind map page, and this is also where I drew one for the first time. These were generally all based on these wonderful geisha or lady drawings from different artists, so I can't claim them as my own. But yeah, I would use them, or I would use several together and compile them, as you will see later on. But yeah, this kind of started the trend. I'm still very happy I'm doing it. This is March. This is actually based on one of my own photographs that I took. These are the Kosheshi dolls. Habit tracker and mood tracker. This is an obi. That's part of to tie the kimono together, or the yukata together. They're very decorative. These are the Hime Matsuri dolls, which are Emperor and Empress dolls that are put out on different celebrations, but for this one it's on Girls' Day, which is the 3rd of March, that year at least. Kumamoto Castle. And as you can see, this month was also based off of the Sakura blossoms. So these are all Sakura dishes and some matcha tea, which I thought would really fitted with all the colors. A picnic. And I was still using quite a bit of just the water brush pens for the first few months until I stepped on and went on to the watercolors and the gouache. So this is probably still one of my favorite mind map pages. And this is actually a combination of, I think, 3 different paintings. So I really can't, claim it as my own, but I did try to, combine certain things, and using the washi tape for her kimono. Really happy how it turned out. This is the month of April. This is probably one of the most special ones, and maybe deserves a bit of more explanation. So I'm from the Netherlands, and the Dutch and Japanese history goes back a long, long time. For several hundreds of years, Japan was actually closed off from trade to the rest of the world, except for the Dutch, and they were placed on this island called Deishima, which is off the coast of Nagasaki. And that's where they were able to continue all the trade. Also, a lot of knowledge was brought into Japan by the Dutch sailors. So yeah, this is one of the first ships that arrived in Japan, called the Liefde. This is Deishima. I actually went to Nagasaki to visit it as well. It was a very surreal experience to see all these Dutch influences within a very Japanese setting. It was very special. But yeah, I really love this month, how it turned out, and especially just the history part of it. This is Miffy in English, or we call her Nijntje, which is a Dutch doll or cartoon, a little rabbit, and because of the cuteness, she's very popular also in Japan. So I drew the Dutch and the Japanese costume. These are flowers. Of course, Holland is very known for its tulips, and this is a arita, which is Japanese porcelain. First month, first weekly, and this is actually what one of the apartments look like in Decima, and you can really see, of course, the Japanese floor and the rice paper walls and sliding doors, but also very Dutch paintings, lamps, the cabinets. Yeah, it was a very weird experience to see that all mashed together. Holland Village in Nagasaki. This is a painting of a camellia blossom made by von Siebold. Siebold was actually a German, not sure how you call that. Anyway, he was a professor and a naturalist, so he went to Japan quite a few times. He also lived there, he had a wife there and a daughter, and he was really into all the Japanese fauna, which he would bring back to Europe, mainly to the Netherlands. And there's still a museum of him in Leiden, which is a city where I studied. Yeah, they have a lot of collection of stuff that he brought back. But a lot of knowledge was shared through both countries through him. And then here is the Tokyo Castle with just some tulips at the front. And I really love this this drawing, mainly because it's all based on watercolor brushes and not paint. And yeah, it was a really experimental way of using them. Yeah, I'm just really happy how this turned out. This is a painting of the armor of Tokugawa Ieyasu. He was a very, very important shogun in Japan, and it was also during his reign that the Dutch were sent to Decima. And my page, another drawing. Again, I really try to continue all the tulips here. This is the month of May with the Wisteria as the main theme, and this is a few gardens that I use as reference. So dolls like the one you can see over there. They are actually little, I guess you could say prayer dolls. They're used a lot in Japanese gardens, and mainly they symbolize the death of young children or unborn children. But they're also, I mean, they have a very sad meaning, but it's also a very cute and, I know, uplifting one at the same time. Gallery tracker. It's not fully filled out, as you can see. But some more decorations. As you can see, not everything really works out the way I planned it, but oh well. This was one where I really started to use some more watercolor because I was kind of frustrated that I couldn't really get the colors I wanted. Very happy with this page. Again, it's a complication of multiple paintings, at least with the teapot. It was a reference painting I saw somewhere on Pinterest, but I did really like having a mermaid in the teapot for the mermaid month. June, very happy with this cover page. This is actually based off a garden where I visited quite a lot with my mom in Yokohama, and they are really known for all these lovely irises. It is just absolutely stunning. This is actually based on one of my own photographs, and this was part of Again, the painting I saw somewhere with two ladies, and I made them my own. They don't really look like this, but yeah. So of course the theme is iris for this month. And Japanese lanterns everywhere. Mood tracker page. It's also based on my own photographs in that garden, which is called the Sakai Garden in Yokohama. Again, referencing a photograph that my mom and I took. And these are just some little delicacies that you can eat during celebrations. I really like this this page as well, with these beautiful bells or lanterns. And the minder page, another painting. Again, this is also based off an image I saw on Pinterest, but I did change her. She's also based off another painting I saw, and then of course the irises to really make it more my own. But yeah, that was the last part of this journal. The rest is still empty, or it has some of my my washi tapes in there. Yep, that was the first month. Sorry, not first month, first half of the year, first 6 months. I'm gonna go to the second one. So this is the torii. That's actually the torii gate that you saw in February, Miyajima. And so for this first setup, I actually used more of a garden theme. I'm still really into gardening, but especially then. And there's actually a picture I took of my garden that I planted. So it was very nice just to have that in there, also as a reminder of how things looked. So the yearly calendar page with all the different flowers that I use in every setup. So you can see the first 6 we've had, and now we're going to go on to the next 6. So the creativity page, story ideas page, the finance and savings tracker, the period and Instagram goals tracker, book tracker and exercise tracker, garden inventory, and now we're going to go on to July. Really happy with this one. It looks maybe a bit weird, but I'm really happy with it. The lotus flower is the flower of this month, as well as the koi fish, and also the whale sharks. One of the first holidays we took in Japan was to Okinawa Island, where we were able to deep scuba dive with these whale sharks, and it was just absolutely great, absolutely gorgeous, spectacular. All the words that you can think of. They're very sweet creatures. So yeah, I just want to put one in there. Here is the monthly goals page. Habit tracker. Quite happy with this. Also, I thought the washi tape was just great for this month. This is part of the Lantern Festival. This is a very famous painting of the wave of Kanagawa. Some delicious sushi. And this is just a simple design drawing. It's actually based on some of the themes that is used. I can't really remember what the technique is called, but it's very Japanese, as well as this pattern. It's a very Japanese pattern, all based on the ocean. So I really liked this one as well. And then this is a garden painting. I can't remember the name of the artist, but I think it's another wood block painting. And then just added some lotuses and some koi fish. And here is the mind map page. Very ocean themed that month. And then we go on to August. I have to say I'm really happy how this one turned out. It took a lot of time, but I really think that the color balance between dark and light, I think I really nailed that part here. So it's one of my favorites probably for this journal. Monthly goals page. This is a ring chain that are used at the temples. And of course, here the theme more hydrangeas. What's special about Japan is that almost every month there is some flower blooming, which is why that was basically my theme of choosing a flower for every month. But yeah, every month has a different, almost flower festival of the different blooms. This is the skyline of Yokohama, where I used to live, so I saw this view quite regularly. And this is Yokohama Tower with Mount Fuji in the back. It's also based on an ink block painting I saw. It doesn't really fit the theme that much, but I just really liked it and I really wanted to add it into my journal. And here we have a forest full of hydrangeas. Not sure if it really worked, but it's there. It's fine. And then here we have the mind map page with one of the drawings. This one I actually drew quite recently, just to fill it back up, because I hadn't done this one yet. But yeah, happy how this one turned out. Again, this is two-parter, so two different types of paintings I merged together. Month of September. This is also based in Yokohama, and this is actually the park opposite the school I went to. So this is really might not be my best work, but it's very memorable, and it's very recognizable to me and my family. The theme this month is roses. And this is the first weekly. This is also a park close to where we lived. It's actually also called a rose garden, and I think it used to be an Italian embassy. It's the harbor of Yokohama. This is a rose garden in Tokyo, and this is part of a Japanese garden as well as a rose garden. And a view of the Yokohama Bay. This is another Yokohama garden. I think this is the English garden. And here is the mind map page. Now on to October. This, oh dear, I think I forgot the name of it, but it's very close to Kyoto and to Takayama, and this village is full of these Japanese traditional houses with these thatch roofs. The Netherlands also has a lot of thatch roofs, so it looks very familiar to me. And we went there a few times in the autumn, which was just glorious with all the autumn colorings. And this month I used it with all the sunflowers. And again, this is also based on two pictures that I took when I was there. This is also part of the Olympics. It was one of the Olympic dolls that you could receive, and they have different flowers in there, and they are all based of the earthquake and the tsunami that happened on March 11, 2011. And yeah, all of them represent the different regions in Japan that were hit the hardest. Yeah, but I did want to put that in there. I thought it was a very nice tribute. And here again, the habit tracker and sunflowers. This is also quite based on Vincent van Gogh. So again, throwing in that Dutch reference with just a lovely Japanese porcelain vase for the mood tracker. And my original plan was actually to have all the petals be the different colors, but I was just painting this and I automatically colored everything in. So I decided to actually do the back panel, but I haven't finished that. It was just a beautiful field of sunflowers and this married couple that was standing in there, and I just absolutely loved it. So I'll just show you some of the wedding culture. This is the Great Buddha statue in Kamakura. And it was actually the only thing that remained after the Great Wave of Kanagawa. So it's a lovely place to visit. This painting is not really done yet. I never really was able to finish it. It didn't really work out, but yeah, didn't also really have time to really complete that. And this was what I did, and I was really happy how this one turned out. It's just one of the trains in Japan, and I really liked it. It's also based on another picture, but I added my own, the sunflowers in there, and the more autumny feel. And here is the mind map page. And this is actually a girl playing well, she's dressed as an Ainu, which is a part of the original peoples of Hokkaido. And she was playing an instrument, and I just really liked her image, and I wanted to include something more Ainu in the setup. And this is also one of my favorites. Japan in fall is just absolutely magical. And yeah, these are two places. I think this one's somewhere in Kyoto. It was I haven't actually been here before, but I was here. This is also in Kamakura. And yeah, it's a beautiful view, especially in the fall when the tree here, it changes every season. And yeah, I was really happy with how this one turned out. Here's one of the deer that you can see in Nara. I have a mood tracker page. So for this month I use a lot of reflections, as you will see. So it's just a view from inside, especially when the woodwork is very dark. It just gives off these wonderful, wonderful reflections. This is Matsumoto Castle. And a Japanese garden. And the mind map page. And we're going to go on to the last month already. This is, well, basically Japan in winter. I'm not exactly sure where this place is. I just saw it and I loved it and it fit my theme. And this is actually based on one of my own photographs. It's of this Japanese monkey in one of the hot springs, and they're really famous for it. And that is in Nagoya, close to Nagoya. And here are the cranes. I have to say I didn't really use my journal in that month, so a lot of the things I filled out later, and most of the stuff isn't really actually filled in, as you will see. It was December, it was a holiday month, but I did want to finish it because December is also my birthday month, so I couldn't not fill it in. Mood tracker, these are Japanese peonies. Of course, the beautiful cranes doing their dance. Temple in winter, I really like how the snow and the red, how they contrasted. It's just a mountain view, a forest view, I should say, into the mountain with Tori. And then finally, this is in Nikko. It's a town above Japan where they have these really, really ornate temples. It's really stunning. And And yeah, it really loaned itself to all of the gold metallics, as you can see here. And this is based off of a postcard I saw. And here we have the final mind map page and also the final page of this bullet journal, which is this painting right here. This is the Golden Temple in Kyoto, and I really love this image. I knew I had to paint her because I actually have a beautiful fabric that you can hang up, which has this exact scene on it. So yeah, and it's absolutely stunning. I love it. So I knew I had to put it into this journal here as well. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that. I hope you enjoyed seeing a lot of Japan. I was really happy to make it and to complete that year. It really taught me a lot about my painting style and how to improve. I really felt that the more months that passed, the better everything became, because of course practice makes perfect. And I'm really enjoying this year's setup, so I hope you will continue to follow me on there, and I will show you a flip through of the first part of this year soon, and then also continue the next half of the year. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.